so we'll call the board meeting to order. Position, any additions or changes?
Yes, I would like to add under discussion items, under other, our schedule for December, a request from Katie, and then our bus contract.
Okay, privilege of the floor. Okay, approval of the minutes. Before I start those, Paul, did you want to change some minutes? You had emailed me and said there was a couple of typos you found, and then I went back and didn't see what you saw.
It just said on the minutes that I saw, it said 3 abstaining on the discussion.
It was corrected and resent it.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, so
That was
we're
your-
good now.
yep.
Okay, all right, so let's, someone wants to make a motion to approve them separately or together.
I have a comment on one of them, it's so minor.
All right, you do, okay. So it's separately, okay.
October 19th, about 2/3 of the way down, from the bottom paragraph, from the bottom, 4 lines up, and amendment to the motion, seconded is spelled wrong. It's minor.
Thank you. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the October 19th minutes as corrected by Barbara.
Seconded by Walter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, great. October 5th. Does anyone have any changes, corrections? No? Okay, someone going to move it?
Make a motion to accept the October 5th minutes as presented.
Seconded by Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? You're opposing?
No.
Okay, you're good. Great, and then June 15th, which are the amended change ones. Any other changes to those? And is someone going to make? Okay, Bonnie, seconded by Sam.
Sure.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Great, principal's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a few topics to present to you tonight. First one is I sent an email to the Plymouth Regional High School community about the parent conference. It'll be next, the 16th, from 5:30 to 7. I will attempt to create an atmosphere here that moving the teachers and the departments around, that it will provide a safe environment for both the parents and the faculty, using the entire building. For example, I'll put English and math in the gym. I'll put social studies and CTE and the cafeteria. I'll use this space and others like that, and make sure that we have the proper distances and all that for the event that will take place on the 16th, because the grades for semester 1 have closed. And I will do a pen alert on Monday just to remind parents that that's taking place on the 16th. Any questions on the conference? Great. I need your approval for a potential senior trip, class trip, that I met with the senior class today, and the advisors, or a day trip to Boston. I'm looking at a date. This is all depending on the numbers of the class too. Somewhere around March 30th or 31st, a day trip. They would depart from the school. They're going to go to the aquarium. They're going to go to Faneuil Hall. They're going to this archery game or escape room. And they're having dinner at Dave & Buster's, and they'll be home for the evening. They're looking at a cost, if I've got 70 kids, or around $115, and it goes down with the, obviously, the number of kids that are involved. That does not cover the bus. So, but I will need approval. It's a day trip, and that possibly, again, it depends on the numbers that they're looking at. Need a motion on that.
Can I ask a question?
Bill?
Did you say March?
Yes, March.
So it's not obviously an end of year class trip?
It is, they'll count it as that, but they don't like to get involved into the May and June because there's just too many activities that go on. Keep in mind, that date works perfectly for them because it's in between season sports. And more kids have the opportunity to attend. That's why they're looking in March.
I move board approve the request. Second strip.
Second.
Seconded by Peter, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining?
Can I ask a question now that
Barbara.
although that's not coming up till March, and there's still potential for numbers have changed, are we going to have that come before us again with
Sure, I'll let you know if it's going to happen or not happen. Absolutely.
numbers?
Yep.
chaperones,
Oh yeah, I'll take care of all that. Yep. They're also seeing a very ambitious group. I gave my tentative approval, a possible flag football game that'll take place on the 21st. Numbers permitting, they're trying to raise money for a student in need, and they're looking to run that event on a Sunday morning. But again, depending on the numbers of kids that sign up, I will keep you informed as we go ahead. I also need approval for a field trip to Florida. One of our special ed teachers, Danae Delphonse, extremely proud to be asked by the New Hampshire Special Olympics to take two of our students and paid for by the Special Olympics. One of our students, a unified athlete and a partner, and plus Danae would serve as the chaperone for all expenses. The games at a glance, it'll take place down in Orlando, Florida, June 5th through the 12th. And again, it is quite an honor to be recognized as one of the schools that sending our kids down there. But I do need your approval because it'll be a school, even though it's paid for by the Special Olympics, will be covered under our liability. That's Danae Delphonse with two students. I don't have the kids' names yet. I won't know that till it comes to spring, and that's for June 5th to June 12th.
Bill, you'd like to...
I make that motion to approve that trip to Florida.
Thank you.
Students, seconded by Barbara, all those in favor?
Aye.
Along those,
Abstaining?
along those same lines, it's nice to report that Plymouth Regional High School also will be receiving the 2020-21 Granite State Banner School Award. And we will be receiving the banner. We're one of the first 6 schools in the state to receive this recognition. And they want to present it to us at a school-wide event. I haven't decided what that would be. But they contacted the governor's office and others to make aware they're going to invite them too. And I had to send down the proper things for our banner. But again, congratulations today. She wrote back to Pete Coffin and Mary Conroy, who run this organization, Special Olympics athlete. We cannot thank you enough for all your support so that Plymouth could have the opportunity to earn such an honor. Now they have the information, I will contact the company that does our banners and we'll get back to you on the date of the presentation. That's quite an honor for us here, and I will let you know when that will happen. I would like to do it sometime during the day, but again, depending on where we're at, I don't want to have a big group, so keep you informed. Next, I would like your approval. I had a request from a group of students, 25 students, to establish a debating club. And that they've gone through the proper channels to start a club. I've received the names of the students that wanted to participate. They also got an advisor from within the school. That would be Mr. Harris, and it would be non-paid. Again, what we need, they would like to start meeting as soon as we have the approval from the board. Topics debated will be democratically chosen. There'll be an opposition team, supporting team assigned. We've been looking at debating club for a number of years here, so it's nice to see the kids get the interest and to come forward to me and want to start one. Again, I would need your approval to start. No pay.
I'll make the motion to accept the request for the reestablishment, if that's a proper word, for the daily club.
Thank you.
Great, seconded by? Oh, sorry. Bonnie, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining?
And again, as you all know, the fall sports have ended. With the football team on Saturday, we will begin the winter sports next Monday. I think wrestling starts right away. And swimming, we do have 2 students that are be representing the school on swimming, and then basketball the following week, and so on and so forth. So we'll get into that next season. That's my report, Madam Chair.
All right, any progress reports for Maureen running late? Do you want to?
So I think you just have 2 policies to approve from the committee for tonight.
All right, I don't have those in front of me. Do you want to?
They are attached, and they'll be under discussion items, so I think you're good.
I don't think I made that. I don't think I mentioned that.
The only other piece that Tennille reviewed, the youth risk behavior survey that was taken, so she did a presentation on that from a few years ago. And then Pam Martin, our assistant superintendent, reviewed the ESSER funds and how they're being spent on infrastructure and learning loss moving forward. So those are 2 things. Those are the only pieces that were reviewed.
So just the 2 pieces within the
policy.
In the policy, okay. All right, so you want them done together?
Well, you can review the committee, I think the other committee had some other pieces.
We did meet, and we had a presentation on facilities and the updates that were done, and those that we're still waiting for. Memory's not working as what we're still waiting for, but we did have a conversation. And Dan Rosser did give us an update on our financial situation for the year. No other action was taken by the board, and we went into another meeting. So.
Yep.
Okay. All right, great. So,
We can move to discussion items.
Yeah, now we're discussing.
all right. Okay, so, does anyone have any questions? Let's pull it up. No? All right. Okay, so. Does someone want to make that?
I have a question on the reporting child abuse. That's mandatory now, that a teacher reports the abuse?
It has always been mandatory, there's just been more specifics added to the RSA, so it just duplicates whatever the law is saying.
So what if one teacher, say first block doesn't report it, but teacher in 4th block reports? Is there any consequences for the teachers?
So as far as everybody's a mandatory reporter, so anybody that's in the building, and it's something that DCYF takes in, so it's not even something that the school may know about all the time, it's just they have the obligation to report whenever they suspect, and then DCYF delegates what they're going to do with whatever the severity of the report is.
That's my question. What if you have one teacher reports and the other teachers have the same student don't report? Are there any consequences for those teachers?
Unless an investigation by DCYF comes out that somebody should have reported when they didn't, then that's something that they would follow through with.
All right, so who wants to make the motion to accept and adopt?
I would like to make the motion to accept and adopt the reporting child abuse and neglect policy on the second reading as of this date.
Seconded by?
I'll second.
Okay. Bonnie, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. Is that it? Is this the last one?
And the student discipline policy is the other one we have.
Okay, all right.
It's multiple pages, so.
Yeah, okay. So and that's the same thing as to change and update the policy. Who would like to make that motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept and adopt the student discipline policy as of the second reading on this date.
Seconded by Phil. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? That was it. All right, so, moving on. Privilege of the floor again.
Guidelines.
New guidelines, oh, privilege of the floor guidelines.
So this was requested to be brought up by a board member, so I think I would open that up to
Yep,
the
Phil.
board to discuss what you would like to discuss around it.
I had the opportunity to attend the Bradley Kidder Educational Law Conference a couple of weeks ago, and one of the presentations actually made by Gordon Graham spoke to the benefit, especially given what's going on in districts around us and throughout the country with effective board meetings and disruption to school board meetings or any municipal public meeting. And they suggested quite strongly that boards develop and adopt guidelines or policies for public input. We've been very fortunate in that we do have, although not big numbers, but we have numbers of people here from the public, and it's been very cordial, been very respectful. But like the value of policy lies in the fact that you have them in case if there is an issue, you don't come across as being arbitrary or capricious in any action you take. And I think that was part of the vein in which this recommendation was made by Attorney Kidder, by Attorney Graham. And it made sense to me given, again, neighboring districts are having some difficulties with board meetings, having to have people removed and so on. I just think, and I believe very strongly in policies, help guide the board in how we respond to issues that arise. That we give this some thought and develop guidelines. They even suggest that they be published on the agenda so that people who may come for the first time will see them. They don't have to be exhaustive, but just to have, length of time. What are the types of things that...
Well, frequency, do you have only residents speak versus non-residents? I've looked at the sample policy, so it's quite detailed, and New Hampshire school boards did just come up with a new policy that I can absolutely, if the board would like to, I can bring it to the next committee meeting or to a board meeting, just if you wanted to see it, what it looks like.
Peter?
It makes sense to me to do it. I mean, if we have it and don't need it, we're better off than needing it and not having it. So, I mean, Skylar can get a copy of what's been done. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, just send it out here if it's something we want to adopt it.
Barbara?
There was a time in the past that at the beginning of the meetings, I believe it was at the beginning of each meeting, the board chair would make an announcement about what the general accepted policies were regarding to making a statement for a public, attending a meeting, making a statement. It would just basically introduce yourself, where you're from, and make your statement and let them know that we weren't making decisions that night. It was an opportunity for them to bring a comment to the board for us to think about it and react on later. So we had that very basic intro into place years ago. Is it possible you can find that somewhere?
So typically, the chair has a lot of authority to create the rules around privilege of the floor. So that may have been that. But I can look to see if there's been an older policy just around privilege of the floor to see if that's something, we have some pretty old policies that I can check
But I
too.
also think it would be nice to see what the state has.
Yeah, it's brand new. Like I said, it's quite detailed, it's very lengthy, and you can pick and choose the pieces. It's all guidelines, it's not a required policy, so it's something that you can choose as a local board. Do you want one or two? And if you want one, where do you want it to be? Do you want the guidelines read at the beginning? Do you want a time limit? Do you want to have non-residents speak? Do you want to be clearer about, what happens when there is public input? And why there may be a response, why there may not be a response, and why there may be an action or no action. Because I think that is sometimes confusing as well. So I can bring it, you can take a look at it, and you can customize it or not have it in policy. So that's something the board wants to do. I would just get
It's information set.
Well, I think the first look should be at whatever the appropriate committee is. I don't know which of these two committees should handle it, but this seems to be, if the board wants to do it, something that should be first visited by the committee to take a look at the general thing and see. I'm all for policies, I agree with you, but, you don't need 20-page policies either for something that we're fortunate, in the way that our meetings have gone. So I would say less is more, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't have a policy. But I think when you go with, the 18 or 20-page policy, that in itself can be overwhelming to everybody.
Any other comments or? Right, so see what you can.
I would like to request that you bring that to the subcommittee so that the appropriate subcommittee can look at it. I don't know whether that would fall under teaching and learning or school operations.
I would put under operations.
And so that would be a desired thing for us to have.
Okay, great. I'll put it on the next school operations.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Budget draft number 1.
All right. So there is a draft 1 that is on the front table if you have not received it. Those of you in the public can grab it too if you'd like it. If you'd like to follow along. I am going to go over broad categories tonight, significant increases or decreases. And really it's your first look at just the appropriation side, not the revenue side, so I'll bring that for the next meeting. And then typically, if there's any changes, that's brought up at the December meeting to discuss and get ready for our hearing. Stop me if you can't hear me, if I go too fast or if I'm not making any sense. Yeah. So just quickly under regular education, so line 1 or 2 is salaries. That line represents 37.2 full-time teachers in the regular education line. Jumping down to number 6, teacher retirement. So this year the percentages around that is 20.02 for teachers and 14.06 for support staff.
What was that second number now?
14.06% for support staff.
Thank you.
Moving to line number 12, purchase professional and technical services. So that's up a little bit. That includes your acceleration policy, so you're paying for tuition, whether it be at PSU or other accelerated classes, right?
Correct. We one change, the
Yeah.
first number was 39.2, the FTs, not 37.
Sorry.
39.2.
Yeah, sorry about that. Jumping to line 18 and 19, so you're going to see a significant decrease on page 22 if you wanted to look at it under software, and it's under custodial lines. That included the entire budget of software over there, so you'll see it's down $155,000, but what we've done is really appropriated it to the right lines. So you'll just see a bump up in some of the lines where we've had to add. It's just something that we've done this year. It's an accounting piece that we're just trying to improve and make sure that we're putting everything where it needs to be. So in that first jump, you'll see in line 19 is software curriculum. So that's $18,645 is the apportionment for the general ed software. No.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yep,
The line above that just says general.
That is the copy lease.
yeah,
Our
that's the
agreement.
copier lease. Yep.
And of course, that's risen because of paper and everything else and travel.
Yep.
And if I make the general technology, that would be our Grad Point, NovaNet license that we do, GoGuardian, Google Read and Write, Jetpacks, PaperCut. These are all softwares that involve the entire school. So Kyler and I put them under the general technology rather than that custodial piece.
All right, jumping to page 2, nothing else significant on page 1. The only piece I wanted to bring your attention to is line 66 and 67 around science and social studies, so I'll have you... what are the
Correct.
details?
The science one first in line 66, that's for our online AP physics curriculum for next year. And the $12,000 for social studies that's for a brand new AP curriculum text and online for AP US History. That's a junior level course. We haven't done a change in textbooks, guys, in years on this. So that's why you got these 2 hits there. I try to level them off as years come off, but you know, we've been holding this off for a while. So that's AP US History and AP Physics.
All right, moving on to page 3. You'll see under line 80, there's a $7,834, and that's for Spanish 1 through 4 workbooks. So that's for all levels right there. And that's curriculum cycle, correct?
Correct, and that's, those kids keep that. That's they work with that in class, and the kids will write and use that in class. That's every year, pretty much.
Then jumping again down to 96, line 96, which is all your software, you see the increase. It's basically dispersing that from the custodial services. And those are all of our online curriculums in the various subjects, including licenses. So you'll see math, science, social studies in general. Do you want to go through any of those?
Sure,
details?
and they're all, again, softwares that go along with the programs. In math, I've got CUDA, I've got Smart Technology, I got a math textbook and Delta Math. Under chemistry, I got science, I've got biology simulations, the science curriculum on that they use, the online text, visual lessons, the top portion of the SAU billing with science, physics online text, AP biology text, physics online text. Those are all that used to be in that custodial line that we've now put them through the proper, okay? But they're all software, and they usually, I'll get them for 2 years, 3 years, whatever, so they're up on a cycle. And they're in the appropriate spots where they're supposed to be.
And some of them are SAU-wide programs, so each district gets billed their portion from that, okay? Jumping down to new equipment under line 111, you'll see that's up a little bit. Same with Tech Ed, line 109. Do you have?
Yeah, and the Tech Ed, those are simulated robotics kits that we do. They're supported by the Legos program that we run down there. And the science is a variety of new equipment. We're buying a piece for biology that they can do inside when they're dealing with their experiments on that piece. And it's a pretty expensive piece of equipment that they've asked for. So that's why that jump, it's a 4,000 piece in new equipment on that line.
All right. Moving to page 4. And at the top there, it ties directly to your technology plan. So that is the line 114 is your replacement of Chromebooks for freshmen. So that's right in there.
Correct. Yeah, we really underestimated this year's freshman class. I anticipated 170, they came in at me at 194. So this increase of the majority of that, as Kyla said, is the new Chromebooks for the incoming freshmen for next year.
And then just jumping down to 122, so that number reflects both teacher laptops, teacher desktops and 5 students.
Correct. And again, you got to have them on a cycle because these kids are going to lose equipment on that piece. And I try to keep the faculty I mean, because the lifespan of a computer is not that great. So rather than getting hit with a big number, if I get ready for it and do 5 or 6 at a time, like we're going to do with the LCD projectors and some classroom furniture, it's not such a big hit for the taxpayers out there. So that is that line, and that's student computers and teacher desktops.
All right. Moving down to line 144, which is salaries under instructional aides. You'll see that's down $62,899. It's because one of those staff members is now your athletic director, so we've moved that person out of the line. You'll see it under a different line, okay? Yes?
We've had a discussion in a previous board meeting about substitutes and the fact that we don't have enough money. I don't know if you want discussion when you go to the respective committee, but I guess I might just flag that and say we year in and year out don't have enough money. Rather than pay that some attention.
It's hard to give you a dollar figure on that, Phil, so, you know, I know if you look at the custodial sub, I think I put in there 20,000, and I've always gone over on that, so you can make, we've just, in the 30 years I've been here, we've just always left that zero, and I've always covered it through other lines through. It's a tough number to give you, to come up with, and, you know.
Last year was a significant year.
Yep.
We did have a number of folks out for either sickness or
Yeah, I understand. But it just makes sense that
Yep.
year in and year out, short in that line.
I've always run it in the red.
All right, moving forward on page 5, we're going to jump to line 159, salaries. So that is, now we're into the special education portion of the budget. That's 7 FTEs, teachers, so special ed case managers and teachers is under that. Jumping down to line 170, purchase professional and tech services. So you see that's down $25,314. This line typically includes behavior specialists, autism specialists that come into the building. So all of these lines are based on individual student needs. So they're tied directly to whatever the student's plan is, and that's how they're adjusted.
And some reimbursed, Tyler?
Yeah, so eventually you'll see in your revenue side, when we bring out the revenue estimates, that you'll be reimbursed for certain services such as specialists, such as rehabilitative assistants, speech, PT, OT, etc. So if they're Medicaid eligible. Line 175 is your out-of-district tuition. So this is a moving target from year to year. So you'll see that's up quite significantly. Right now, there could be an out-of-district placement by a court that is for one student that could be over $300,000. So I just want to put that out there. That's why there's such a swing in that line. Under this line includes any child placed by the DCYF. So we may share with the state of New Hampshire on the school placement, but also includes any mental health facilities or behavior facilities for these kids out of this district. Okay? We usually don't put a number with that due to student confidentiality.
Is this, do you feel confident in this large figure? Is it enough, or?
With what we have coming from some of the middle schools, that counts students that may be placed out of district already, so just assuming that they're...
Right.
Now, courts can change, but I'm confident in that number right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see. I have nothing else significant in the special ed category, so I'll just move on to page 6. And special ed aides. And we are at how many special?
16.5, Carl?
16.5 special ed aides. Again, those are tied directly to students. So if they have an one-on-one aide or a shared aide in their IEP, then that's where that's reflected. So again, that can move from year to year depending on what your needs are. Line 202, nothing significant. Special ed secretary is the same. Extended school year, which is line 213. Extended school year is required in a child's IEP if they basically require summer school. So that's written right into a student's plan. That's the cost for whatever services they may need over the summer months. Line 221, bilingual education, that's English language learning. So right now you pay a portion of a teacher to work with students who qualify under the state for English language. So there's cut scores and testing that we're required to do. So that's just the caseload at the high school at this point. Page 7. Top of the page, applied technologies. So this is all your CTE center and services. Right now you have 6.4 FTEs in that line, and that dip in salary is a staff exchange. You have some new folks in there, so that's a reflection of that. Nothing else significant on that page except for on line 234, professional health science. So that is for clinicals that they do outside of the building. So supervision for that piece. You need a different qualification when the students are out. Page 8, moving down to line 273, automotive techs. You'll see that's up, so that's that little piece of software that's been built in, and that is for their...
It's all for their licenses, all data auto, C-Car, CP2, CDX, and Electude. They're all software programs that go with autos. We just moved them into the appropriate line.
And then the next piece is line 294 is up a little bit, and that is for new cameras, batteries. Page 9. Nothing significant there. That's all your co-curricular. It's tied right to the collective bargaining agreement, so it reflects the cost of those positions. Page 10. So this is all your supplemental costs that are associated with co-curricular. The only piece I think you'll see is just underlined, let's see, 343 was your math quiz bowl entry fees. There's just an increase in cost in that. Same with an increase in cost for materials for the National Tech Honor Society. Jumping to page 11. So most of this page is again athletics. So all of the salaries are tied right again to your collective bargaining agreement. So that's just the projections for next year. You'll see on line 411 the professional and tech services has an increase of $5,000. Those are for your referees. There's just an increase in cost. Jumping to page 12, you'll see a increase on line 415, and that is just the cost of recondition. Is it conditioning or reconditioning?
Recondition. Sports stadium.
Materials or equipment. The only other piece on there is line 436, and we did have to increase that a little bit. You'll see we spent, and the actual expense is a little bit more under travel, so we just upped it to match what we're actually spending. Page 13, line 464, again, that's one of those lines that we shifted into there. So under athletics, we have all of our coaching tools that are online, as well as our concussion software and our registration software that we have for athletics under that line. Jumping down to line 478, which is replacement equipment. So your numbers that are up are your cycle on uniforms. So up this year you have your Nordic ski team, which is 487. You have your wrestling team. And your girls volleyball is up this year as well. So line 499. So that's a cycle. Todd has that on, is organized with that piece, and it just, we couldn't put that in where it belongs. Summer school is not really a line that's used anymore, but we do have some money in it for supplies for the 8th grade transition or move-up night.
Correct.
I'm assuming that's what that's for.
Absolutely.
Nothing else. You'll see, so line 520. Previously, we had under salaries, you see that's down quite a bit. The assistant principal was also the guidance director, so that position has been moved out, and you'll see the new position moved into a different line with the athletic director and the principal. Jumping to line 537, software, that's our student data system. So PowerSchool is what we use for our student management system. That's the apportionment for the high school. Let's see. Purchase services under nursing, so line 561, you'll see that's up a little bit, and that's just for
Contracted service for the hospital, right.
Yep. That's for your school nurse, not for your nursing program. And we contract out with Spear for that still. Jumping to page 16, you'll see in the line of 572 psychological services, and that's down $118,000. No, is that correct?
That's personnel change. Yep.
Personnel change.
Correct.
I do want to check that line, though.
Yep.
Check it for accuracy.
That's a
For
big
the
number.
second draft, yeah.
Correct.
Jumping to no other changes there. Speech therapy, 593, is directly tied to students on special ed plans or IEPs, so that's just by student. Turning to page 17, physical therapy. That again is tied to students with IEPs. Same with occupational therapy, line 609. We contract out on line 618 with Dunstan Pediatrics to provide occupational therapy to students. Line 635, which is also software, that's an increase again. And that is My Learning Plan. That's our professional development software where teachers keep all of their hours and they submit for approval and stuff under that one. Page 18, under audio visual, Bruce, line 651, software is up. So that was reflective of
What page you on? I'm sorry.
page 18, line 651, software audio visual.
Okay, audio visual, and that is, let me get to, that is the Follett Destiny Library Management System, and that's $47.50.
Yeah.
That's the exact price. Yep.
Line 656, your library instructional staff, that's decrease is because of a staff exchange. You have a new person in there that came in under what the last person was. Line 664, books and media, there's an additional 2,000 for books. So, the library. Page 19 is school board services at the top. The only piece that's up there is your board docs, is what you pay for every year for your software system. And the contingency fund is a warrant article, so that is added. If you continue to have that as a warrant article, that's added in after the vote. No changes for the rest of that page, and that's all your supplemental services for the school board. Line 710, again, is one of those lines that's a moving target, legal fees. So we generally budget $10,000. Last year we used more than anticipated. So there's the actual expense. Still recommending $10,000. Line 713, the superintendent's office. So you'll see an increase there. That increase is because the IDEA grant, which is the special ed grant that we used to apply for as a consolidated grant for all districts, now has to be separated by district. So we have put the out-of-district coordinator into the SAU budget, and then it goes out from there. So we can't have it. It used to be part of the consolidated grant, so now we have it in our own budget. So that's the increase. Line 715, technology coordinator, no changes. That reflects 2 staff in that. You have a director of technology and a support technology person as well. Jumping to line 729, career tech director's office. So this is your CTE director and their supplemental costs. And then jumping to page 21, and line 746, and again, that's down a little bit due to a staff exchange.
Correct.
Line 755, 56, we have added, so it used to just be the principal in this line. We have added both the new position of assistant principal and athletic director to this line. So you see where it's down in those other lines, you see this bumps it up. They're all under this category. The only other notable piece under here is under your software, 770. This is all your front office stuff, frontline attendance subs. It's all the software that has to do with that piece. Going to page 22. And some lines that I want to bring your attention to, line 803, technical services, so that's up 3,212, and that's your behind the scenes networking storage, so your online storage that we have. Water and sewage, John wanted me to report to you that that is up due to irrigation, irrigation needs.
Correct.
Then you have your line 806, your rubbish removal, and that's down 10,000 in due to the purchase of the
compactor. So we don't pick up as much. It holds a lot more.
So we have had a savings there. And then this is the line I was talking about, line 808. That's down 155,806, where we dispersed all the software throughout the budget. Rental of, let's see, am I on the right line here?
He wanted you to point out, Kyle, natural gas, electricity.
Yep, property and liability insurance is just up, 5,411. Phones are down 4,000, so that's line 811. The other piece is supplies, you'll see is up significantly. The prices have gone through the roof with just our general supplies, so that is John's prediction of what it just will cost of general supplies. Natural gas, we are on a 3-year contract, so that's line 815. So we are, he said, locked in at 132 a gallon. And then for electricity, we are down. We just locked into a 4-year contract, and that's 7.2 kilowatts per hour. So that's down a little bit. Moving to page 23. Line 823. So that was at the end of the year. So we looked at, that's one of the equipment purchases that I believe we purchased for the kitchen.
Correct. Dishwasher.
Under that line, so that's why it's down 43,999. And you'll see the next line is also down significantly. We put in all our AP networking switches, so that is something that you don't need again this year. So those were all installed at the end of last year. Care and upkeep of ground services, this is your shared buildings and grounds, the old rec, so so that's what that piece is. There's a staff exchange there, so you'll see a decrease in salaries under that piece. And then you'll see repairs and maintenance, again, just general repairs and maintenance, line 830 is up significantly due to the cost of supplies. 832, do you have the backup on that, Bruce? Building improvement is up, it's under 9,000.
Yeah, I saw that. I think we're going to do the painting of the buildings on the grounds. Definitely the ski jump on that one, but I'll have to give you the exact thing on that, Kyle. I don't have it with me.
833, ski tow liability insurance. It's not a ski tow, it's your ski jump.
Ski jump.
But that's just the name of the line, so that's what it costs for that piece. Supplies under Parks and Rec is down down a bit. And then the other piece to bring up is line 730, which is up, 75,500. So that includes a new truck, which we had looked into the possibility of leasing, but John did say that was not a possibility. A mower and a gravel, which if I'm correct in my words, grabs brush.
Grabs brush.
Okay.
It does.
The truck, for your information, is a Ford 250. So the truck they have now is just not in working condition anymore. It can't get registered, or it's rotting, from my understanding.
Correct.
The other piece on line 838, replacement of equipment. So this ties right into some of our CIP plans. So that majority of that is the remainder of the paving through the back that can get emergency vehicles down there, as well as handicap accessible cars in the back if they need to. So you saw we did a lot this year, so this covers the rest of it down towards the back, towards the snack shack. And
It'll
then
go
up.
all the way to the, pretty much to the backstop of the baseball. So I'll be able to get, and then off to the right by the cat shack, because we use that area going down to the ski jump, that's major. That'll cover the entire the complex that we've done.
And also, that number also includes a baseball and
Field hockey.
scoreboard, which you know we purchased the scoreboard last year too, which is not up yet because it's on back order, but it will be up. Let's see, we have, jumping down to student transportation, you have a new bus contract, which I have for you tonight. I put the numbers that are projected for those in there. So that's what's expected for regular busing. We are not purchasing any buses. So jumping down into line 842, special ed, you'll see that's quite a significant number too. That's for any students that require individual transportation to the high school or to local day placements outside. So that also includes homeless, the homeless population as well. So that can be a moving target.
College, do we get any reimbursement from the state for that?
Not for transportation, no. No.
Yeah. Thank you.
So let me go back to that. You get special ed catastrophic aid is what they used to call it, which sometimes transportation can go under that. You have a student that costs 3.5 times your tuition. Once it hits the cap, you start getting reimbursed. State's supposed to reimburse about 100%, you get about 60. So sometimes transportation's included in that process, but rarely, not really.
And that can change year to year?
It can change every year.
The reimbursement can change year to year?
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's see, athletic programs stay the same as far as busing, and then that last section there is field trips. Do you want to go over, there's a science field trip up significantly?
That's Canopy Lake, that's environmental science, that's Odeon, that's all of them broken out by departments. The minus 10,000, because we're off cycle, we're going this year to the music program, we're going to Hershey, Pennsylvania, that's why there's a minus $10,000 there. And everything else, again, is broken out. They're regular field trips that we run year after year.
All right. The next page, page 24, almost towards the end here, just bringing the debt service numbers are in right there. And then page 25, line 899 and 900, all of the health insurance summary is right there, down 108,121. And then, which is good, I think it's gone up quite significantly for the past few years, so that's down. And then dental insurance is down about 2,000. Total district funds, about 424,939, up from the previous year, about 2.6% on your appropriations side. So that's our starting point. Any questions, or we can save questions for the next time? I do want to check that psychological services line too, for that.
That's right.
that percentage? What does that end up to be, that percentage of what we're up?
2.6
2.6.
is the starting point. Once I fix that psychological line, it'll be up a bit more, but not significantly.
Any
So-
other questions? Yeah. Bill?
This doesn't include adjustments to staffing based on incoming enrollments in class.
This is
Yeah,
based on our
yeah,
current
correct.
population and what we have coming in, yes.
And what we anticipate, right? Is it,
You still have to have the students to schedule the kids. Where's that?
no, we don't do that till February, but I generally have to do all this every, you're gambling when you do this. You base it on the incoming 8th graders coming in, that my class size will be the same. Yep.
Yes, Barbara?
On each of those lines where we have cost increases for supplies, anticipated increases for supplies, how are you figuring that? Is it a percentage like what we've been seeing? How do you figure the increase?
So in general, as far as custodial or the Parks and Rec, they priced them out, they already have prices for next year. And remember, we used a lot of our supplies, and after March of 2020 happened, the school shut down, we had more supplies left over, so we didn't have to purchase as much last year, and now we have to purchase again. So we were able to get through most of last year on some of the supplies that we didn't use while we were in remote from March 2020 to June.
Any other questions? Well, people can absorb it.
Yep.
Okay, great. Any other business?
Yeah.
There's a bus contract and something else I can't read right now. Scheduled for December, I think it says.
I have three things. I have bus contract, request from Katie, and then our next meeting. So I'll do the bus contract
Yeah.
first. We only had one bus company put in for the next few years, so I can pass around the details of it. But your first, so I'll read this from Dan. The transportation contract for the school district expires at the end of the current year. In recent years, with the change in ownership of the existing vendor from a local company to an international one, we felt it was prudent to develop a comprehensive specification plan for these services, as one has not been in place up to this time. In addition to the development of a clear set of specifications, a formal RFP was published with information sessions and required meetings with the vendor. To that end, the new specifications focus on student safety, reliability of service vehicles, and financial implications. Unfortunately, there was only one respondent. I believe that once all the districts of SAU 48 are aligned with a similar expiration date enabling single contracts for all districts, interest from maybe other vendors may come about. This will enable a more competitive environment, hence I've been working towards this goal with contract varying lengths but a similar end date. I recommend that you accept the proposal from Durham Student Services. Please let Dan know if you have any questions. I can send this around quickly, and it is the costs and the athletic costs as well. Do you want to pass it around? So I'll go into the next one and circle back to it once you all see the numbers.
But the real numbers are already in your budget too.
Yeah, for next year.
95 for athletics and then the 350.
For Katie, so there are some trees that are hanging over the Katie building that are on our property. We initially thought it was on Katie property, but it's on the high school property. So they would like, there's a request from Deb Nero to share. There's 10 dead trees. They got a quote from Top Notch of 2,500. John Francis got a quote from Pemmy Tree Works for 2,200. Basically, Deb Nero's asking to share the cost, asking the board to consider sharing the cost of the removal.
Okay, questions?
She said maybe half, but it is on our property.
Sam?
I think that sounds like a reasonable request to make. I'll make a motion that we share the cost with them at one half.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Second by Barbara. Yeah, Barbara first. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining?
I'm guessing at the lower bid,
2,200, not the 2,500.
2,200.
Sam, is that motion at 2,500?
Do we legally have to accept the lower bid, or I would do it at, well, it's
Whatever,
such a
yeah.
small difference, I would do it at the discretion of whatever our yeah, whatever our facilities thinks.
Okay.
Thanks for that
Yeah.
clarification.
And that was half.
And then that paper's still working its way around. So
Okay, the last thing I have is, I was going to suggest canceling the committee meeting and going right to 2 full board meetings in December, if possible, to get the budget finished. Any thoughts? Because we had to move this one, because we postponed it from last one, so our committee meeting would already be next week.
So not meeting the rest of this month, but meeting the
Twice.
first and the second Tuesday in December. People okay with that?
Yeah.
And then hopefully we can get a budget approved for the hearing. Begin.
I like it.
We're canceling one.
Canceling next week's committee meeting and having 2 full board meetings in December.
The parent conference night too, so.
So the dates would be the 7th and the 16th? No.
So the dates would be, second,
He said the 7th and 21st.
the 7th and the 21st. I know it's pushing it, but, so 5 o'clock on the 7th, 4:30 on the 21st.
And so there is no meeting coming up next week?
Correct.
I'll reach out to those that are not here. And let them know. And then just, I got a little confused on Kyla. At some point I want to get the chairs of the committees, because when Maureen just called out last minute, I didn't know who to defer to. I know Peter is, I think Peter's vice for School and Operations Committee. But I don't know the chairs for teaching and learning. No. I
It's
looked at
Maureen.
Maureen,
Chair.
she needs to be the old program instead. Maureen is the chair.
I'm looking for the vice one, not the chair. So who, if Maureen's not here, who does it? So that's what got me all kind of
Gotcha.
stuck back there.
I thought it was Christie.
Christie.
I'm on the operations. So she's chair.
I think I'm the,
For the operations.
Okay, we can go back and look. We have it, I know we have it.
Okay,
Janice has it.
Yeah.
just,
I can look back, and if you need to redo it, you can redo it.
I looked at my drive and looked back and I couldn't see it, so.
It would be, I'd have to go through my notes.
Okay,
Just so I can find that for you.
but I was expecting her to have that, I have to rush some of them out last week. Okay, so any board member concerns? Yeah.
No, I was going to say, did you need a motion to approve the bus contract?
Yeah, it's still going around, right?
Right.
Okay.
But
It's
we
in the
only
budget.
have one bidder, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we don't approve this bus contract, we get the bus service.
Does anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Then we approve the bus contract, which is in the budget. Second by Lonnie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you, Sam. All right, now board member concerns. Anybody? Any questions or
I have a question.
questions?
The school risk survey, is that information when your percentages come in, is that disseminated out to the parents, or is that strictly for the school?
What do you usually do with the, well, it's distributed by the state.
State.
It's a state
Yeah, but
law.
it's given to, is it given to the parents or just given it to the school?
Just give it to the school.
And does the school give it, the information out to the parents?
They asked me for it, but I don't give it out a mailing. I don't think we posted it online too. I don't think we've done that.
A couple years ago.
We have.
Yeah,
So it's
with Katie.
posted, they can find it through the website.
Yeah, I think we do have to check if Tennille posts that.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's old, sir, it's old, it's kind of 2 years out, but we just did a new one, so I'm sure that will be out too, where we can post that.
And
once that
do they,
comes out.
are they able to see a copy of the questions that are on the survey?
Yeah, they do that. When we present this to this board, you guys add your own, you've added questions too on that. Once you approve the survey, that's the one we go with.
No, the
I'm
youth risk
asking-
At
behavior.
risk, that from the state.
Correct.
But we have also added questions in the past, when
He's
we've done
asking
it.
if the
I'm
parents
asking
can
if
see
the
the
parents can
questions.
see, are able to see the questions.
We used to be, not the one from the state now, but the one we used to do, we used to open I used to have it in the principal's office at a certain time, but that was run by Katie. Now the state one is online, Paul,
So
so they
they-
can just
So
go
they have to
online
go
and take.
online to the
No,
state and they can see the survey?
correct, they can see the questions, absolutely.
So
The same
there's two
question.
different surveys that, the one that they used to develop themselves, we
Right.
used to not participate in the youth risk behavior survey until it became a law.
Correct. But I'll look to see if we posted that on our web.
Well, if they get on the state survey, the state.
They can see the
website,
questions,
that's
yes.
fine.
It's yep,
Yeah, well, that's a good question, because it was Katie. He doesn't
Correct.
do it anymore, the state does it.
well, like Kyla said, it became a law.
Right, so-
And we used to opt out of that all the time and do our own,
Yeah.
which was more in-depth. It was more personal too.
Right, right, yeah, that's a good question, Paul. Okay, so, what are the concerns? Barbara, yes.
Yeah, dates for the rest of the year, these are only on board meetings, so we're going to continue with first and third Tuesdays, and the third Tuesday will be except for December.
Correct. The board hearing is, I don't know if I have it in my calendar, but I believe it is, I believe that your budget hearing is on the 4th, but I have to double check that. I'll have Michelle send out the dates, January 4th. But I'll have her put it right on the next agenda, so you're aware of which your board meetings, what are the budget hearings.
Yeah, we need SAU budget, we need the high school, and, yeah, maybe the changes in our meetings, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of meetings coming.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Barbara. So a motion to go into non-public session for personnel
And negotiations.
and negotiations. So Barbara, seconded by Phil, roll call.
Yes.
Yes.